Eagles, week one, their divisional rival, without Jordan Reed, who has had a number of concussions over his career. That's the first piece of business. The second piece of business we are bringing in Tom Pelissero for. I believe he's got himself a scoop, a rather large one, involving a wide receiver who he had his own moments this week, but nowhere near what Antonio Brown did. You're not Ian.
The floor is yours,
What do you got, Tom?
That's right, Mike. Julio Jones and the Falcons, I am told, are finalizing a big-time contract extension. It's going to come in at 3 years and around $66 million, making Jones by far the highest-paid receiver in the NFL. There's still some minor issues to work out. I believe the Falcons are actually on the practice field right now for their walkthrough, but my understanding is this deal should be done today. Now, Mike referenced some of the awkward moments for Julio Jones. At one point in his press conference on Thursday, he was asked whether he would play on Sunday if a contract extension does not get done. He said, I don't know. Later said he planned to play. Well, ultimately, it seems as if this is going to be moot. The contract extension for Julio Jones should be done today, making him by far the highest paid receiver in the NFL. We know that Falcons owner Arthur Blank has a track record of taking care of all of his best players, his big-time leaders. They did it with Grady Jarrett in the summer. They did it with Devontae Freeman a couple of years ago. Now Julio Jones, whose contract got upgraded. They gave him a $2.9 million raise last year, even though he still had 3 years left on the deal. Everyone said before camp they expected to get this done. Jones said he had a promise from Blank that they would work out this contract before he takes the field tomorrow here in Minnesota against the Vikings for the season opener. Julio Jones indeed should be the highest paid receiver in the NFL.
And for perspective, it's $22 million a year. The previous high was Michael Thomas, who had just recently set it at, what was it, 19 or 19 and a half?
$19.25 million with a maximum of $20 million a year for Michael Thomas. So this is a big-time jump. You're talking about over $2 million per year more. This is not just a matter of tacking on an extra $100,000. No, this is millions of dollars more for Julio Jones. It gets done at a time. He still has 2 years left on his existing contract. Again, the Falcons like to take care of their best players, their big-time leaders. Julio Jones, a leader by his own example. I was there on Wednesday talking to guys about him. I had a conversation with safety Ricardo Allen about Julio, whether or not he was any different. He goes, listen, when Julio walks in the locker room, he knows if we could all get on our phones and take a vote about him getting him some contract, he'd get that contract. Well, Julio has continued to go about his business. Matt Ryan told me he's been unbelievable every day in the meetings and on the practice field, now on the verge of getting that big-time contract we've been waiting for.
All right, Tom, good scoop, my friend. I appreciate it. Now all those guys at, what, 18 million and 19 million probably thinking we're underpaid, and that's Odell Beckham and Antonio Brown. Maybe Antonio Brown should go for a redo. Say, hey, you want to redo my deal, Raiders?
But this is how you do it. I mean, Julio Jones.
It's a joke.
I got you.
I
got you.
But
I had something in my head I wanted to say about Julio.
Brown. No, let's talk about Julio. We have another player we can talk about.
But this is the way you do it, man. One of the best wide receivers in the league, and you show up. Julio Jones has the street credibility. Julio Jones has the street credibility. The opposing defenses have to sit up all night and worry about what this guy is going to do to them. And he does exactly what you're supposed to do. You show up every day, you work hard at practice every single day, and everybody on the team, everybody in the organization knows you're the best player on the team. You do not put anybody in any inconvenient situations. You don't put the organization in with any issues. And guess what? Business keeps on booming. You get all your money. You do everything that you want to do.
He's the exact opposite of Antonio Brown.
The exact opposite.
Of personality.
And that's what's so great, because not only did the organization need to take care of Julio, and they knew that and they understood that, but Julio also handled it the right way. A lot of people handle it all in the media. You didn't see Julio doing none of that.
Did he cuss out the GM?
He showed up to everything. I did. That's why I probably got ran out of Atlanta and didn't get paid. But Julio did everything right. And when you see a guy do everything the right way, it justifies him getting that. Because obviously, like we said, his talent on the field, undeniable. He is the best receiver in the game, without a doubt.
And it was so, I mentioned his moments this week, like Tom was talking about. It was just so out of character to even have that little bit of a blip on the radar from Julio Jones. And it happened concurrently with Antonio Brown. And you go, boy, we really, really do. A lot of
these receivers, man.
You're gaining appreciation for a lot of people right now. Julio Jones, Mike Tomlin.
Yeah.
Yeah, right, exactly. Derek Carr. Lamar for what he's trying to deal with as he's trying to be the franchise quarterback. It's just been a wild week. We haven't even played a game yet. Well, we played a game the other night, but Antonio Brown hasn't played a game, and I don't think he's going to this year.
It really is interesting when you watch the way that Julio has handled everything, and it's like it gets on everybody's radar when he has just the slightest difference.
Just a little bit.
A tiny little tick different
you know what?
than he normally is.
But that's
You're
what
like,
we were
what's
saying.
wrong with Julio?
We were saying that earlier. Everybody is allowed a moment, right? Or a couple of moments here and there. And that's why the Raiders were giving Antonio Brown a little bit of leeway.
9 moments, 10 moments.
It was. We had to use toes.
Many moments in a short amount of time. Well, we'll get to see. Congratulations to Julio on getting paid. We'll get to see him go up against Xavier Rhodes when the Falcons take on the Vikings coming up this weekend in Week 1, because it is Week 1. It is here, and wow, do we have news for you because of this Antonio Brown mess. It is the messiest situation in the NFL right now. Next up, we're going to, if you missed it earlier, David